And this is now news coming in from Israel, where we're in fact understanding the French President Emmanuel Macron is in fact having a meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Our viewers would remember that the French President Emmanuel Macron in fact is on a solidarity visit to Tel Aviv in Israel in the backdrop of that war that still continues between Israel and Hamas. It's been 2 weeks on, and that conflict only continues to still escalate. We've seen multiple visits by various global leaders, from the likes of UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and others, who in fact have extended their support to the Israeli Prime Minister and authorities on the ground. It all started with a visit that came from the US President Joe Biden, then the UK Prime Minister, and now French President Emmanuel Macron. Let's also now bring in our colleague Abhishek, who's joining us on the broadcast. Abhishek, this is a solidarity visit coming in to send out a message that France stands with Israel in this hour of darkness. Help us understand in terms of what is the agenda as far as these meetings are concerned.
So there is two agenda that is pretty much in the mind of President Macron. First, showing solidarity, showing support to Israel in its fight against the terrorism. And second priority for him is right now that he should ensure that the conflict of Israel versus Hamas does not escalate into a full-fledged war in the region, because several countries around Israel, several small militia groups, they are all waiting for the situations to turn in a way where it will be imminent for a war from Israeli side. We know that the US, UK and France, they have been supporting Israeli firepower also. They have been supporting Israeli defense forces also in its fight. But at the same time, they are also very well aware of the human casualties, the civilian casualties in Palestine, in Gaza, that have become a bone of contention, that has become an issue in their domestic politics as well. So they would ask Israeli side not to go ahead with in a strategically move that would mean more civilian casualties. Or so rather than focusing on fight on terrorism, now humanitarian crisis in Gaza is also pretty much in the mind of French President Emmanuel Macron when he's meeting or French Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv.
Abhishek, as you're rightly pointing out today, it's not just the conflict and to try and see the support that Israel is seeing, but also to try and provide some solution to the humanitarian crisis. Relief work has already started entering through the Rafah border. Multiple trucks have already entered. Help us understand what is the immediate plan to try and tackle this humanitarian crisis beyond these trucks that are entering from the Rafah border.
We have seen the French president also sending relief material to Egypt, from where it is now on way to the people in Gaza. He has also thanked Egyptian president for facilitating all the relief material to reach for the people of Gaza, who are right now in dire circumstances, dealing with shortage of fuel, food, water supplies, drug, medicine, and all the essential things that can sustain a normal, basic civil life. In that context, that is a balancing act from the Western powers that we have seen, especially US, UK, France, Canada also. In fact, the world is now increasingly putting its attention towards the humanitarian crisis that is happening in Gaza. About 5,000 people in Gaza have been killed, about 2,000 of them children. And that is a huge, catastrophe that has, evolved in the last 20 days in Gaza, which has now started taking center stage in the entire Israel versus Hamas conflict. While Israel's right to self-defense is something that the West has continued to be steadfast with, they have been solidly backing Israel's right to self-defense, and that means it's counteroffensive against terrorist groups against Hamas. But they are also trying to appraise Israel, trying to ensure that Israeli counteroffensive does not mean more civilian casualties, and that is something that the leaders are trying to balance.
Abhishek, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. So let's also now help you understand where does the conflict currently stand. As we pointed out, unfortunately, this conflict between Israel and Hamas still continues 2 weeks on. We just showed you those visuals of the French President Emmanuel Macron, who is also now in Tel Aviv for a solidarity visit. He already held talks with the Israeli president. As we pointed out, is meeting the Israeli Prime Minister as well. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also reiterated the elimination of Hamas is their main objective. Israeli Defense Minister has said that Israel is preparing for a multilateral operation on Hamas from air, ground and sea. The UN General Assembly will also discuss the Israel-Hamas conflict on the 26th of October. As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues, 20 more trucks carrying vital humanitarian aid also passed the Rafah crossing from Egypt into Gaza on Monday. Meanwhile, the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak also said explosion at the Gaza hospital was likely caused by a missile launched from within Gaza towards Israel. Let's also now play out some ground reports. Our colleague from News 18 India, Neeraj Kumar, continues to be on ground zero, brings us these reports. Let's take a look.
न्यूज 18 इंडिया से हम और हमारे कैमरा पर्सन करम सिंह आ गए हैं वेस्ट बैंक। वेस्ट बैंक यानी फिलिस्तीन, इजराइल की सीमा से जस्ट अभी थोड़ी देर पहले हम लोग महज 500 मीटर की दूरी पर घुसे हैं वेस्ट बैंक में। और जब इजराइल से आप वेस्ट बैंक में घुसते हैं तो यहाँ की तस्वीर आपको बिल्कुल अलग हो जाती है। कितना विकास दोनों के बीच में है वो फर्क यहाँ साफ दिखता है। आप देख सकते हैं, आपको दिखा रहे हैं, ये सड़कें जो हैं फिलिस्तीन की हैं, वेस्ट बैंक की हैं। और ये भी कहा जा रहा है कि वेस्ट बैंक तीसरा फ्रंट खुल सकता है पूरी लड़ाई में। हमास के खिलाफ जो इजराइल की लड़ाई है, पहला फ्रंट गाजा में है, दूसरा फ्रंट उत्तर लेबनान बॉर्डर में है और तीसरा फ्रंट वेस्ट बैंक में खुल सकता है। लेकिन अभी हमें दिखाने का मकसद ये है कि दोनों की तुलनात्मक दृष्टि से आपको दिखाते कि इजराइल में जहां हमारी गाड़ियां बहुत रफ्तार से भागती हैं, यहाँ क्या स्थिति है वेस्ट बैंक में। वेस्ट बैंक में गरीबी बहुत है, गाजा में बहुत गरीबी है, पर कैपिटा इनकम इजराइल और फिलिस्तीन के बीच कोई तुलना नहीं है। बहुत बड़ा फर्क है, जमीन आसमान का फर्क है। और यहाँ देख सकते हैं, चाहे इमारतों की बात करें, जहां गगनचुंबी इमारतें हैं, अच्छी अच्छी इमारतें आपको इजराइल के अलग अलग दूसरे शहरों में भी दिखेंगी, यहाँ का जो स्ट्रक्चर है वेस्ट बैंक का वो बिल्कुल अलग दिखता है। गरीबी है, बहुत विकास नहीं है। हवाई हमला लगातार गाजा पे कर रहा है इजराइल और दूसरी तरफ जमीन से भी मार कर रहा है, लेकिन अब तक जमीन से घुसा नहीं है गाजा में। ये उस लोकेशन की एक तस्वीर आपको दिखा रहे हैं जो इजराइल और गाजा के बॉर्डर पे है। आप ये देख सकते हैं किस तरह से तोप, टैंक, बख्तरबंद गाड़ियां यहाँ सारी तैयारी, और यहाँ से बीच बीच में हमला किया जाता है। जब लोकेशन का पता चलता है तब हमला किया जाता है। और ये देखिए, तमाम जो मिलिट्री की गाड़ियों के अलावा जो तोप में गोला भरा जाता है वो भी यहाँ से आपको दिख रहा है। यहाँ से देख सकते हैं आपको बीच बीच में। ये बहुत सेंसिटिव लोकेशन है तो हम आपको दिखा नहीं रहे। करम आपको इधर से दिखाएंगे, बैक साइड से इधर आपको दिखाएंगे। इधर और लोकेशन हैगा, मिरर डाउन, लाइट ऑफ, मिरर डाउन और लाइट ऑफ करके, क्योंकि बैक साइड आपको यहां भी कुछ लोकेशन दिखेंगे। ये सड़कें सेंसिटिव हैं क्योंकि सबसे नजदीक की सड़कें हैं, हाईवे है जो इजराइल गाजा बॉर्डर पे है। यहां भी पेड़ों से ढक के बहुत आर्मी के लोग हमें दिखे थे।